expected, the explosion at Chaoyu Harbor only brought the Sky Dragon pirates and Eclipse Moon a brief moment of dismay. After they regained their senses, they realized that the enemy that suddenly appeared was not Blizzard City's reinforcements, but rather the original inhabitants of Tianhai City. This immediately settled their hearts. Kanuta sneered, "It's just some stray fish. Can't make any waves." Kanuta immediately arranged for a team to go forward to deal with Xiao Honglian, Xing Tian, and the other Tianhai City natives. He, on the other hand, brought his mutants with him, and together with the Eclipse Moon organization, he intended to take out Zhang Yi and the others within the prison cage first. However, under the cover of the blizzard, no one could see what Zhang Yi was doing. He took a deep breath, already knowing in his heart that the time to fight for his life was now. The enemy he faced this time was not that easy to deal with. Luckily, I've never exposed my true trump card either. Zhang Yi stood in the center of the cage, his hands clasped into a ball in the air, and a black lightning bolt suddenly began to coalesce in the middle of his palms. Crackle! The lightning was getting more and more thick, and the bizarre and twisted power seemed like a small black snake was swimming. That terrifying power caused the people around by Li Changqing and the others to widen their eyes and subconsciously take several steps back. Only Liang Yu and Flower and Yang Xinxin were the only ones who knew what this power was. A few people surrounded Zhang Yi to protect him, not tolerating anyone to come over and disturb him. The black unstable substance became denser and denser, coalescing into a huge black sphere in the middle of Zhang Yi's palm. Then as Zhang Yi's hands moved, it was slowly compressed by him and turned into a black void ball that was only the size of a volleyball. "All of you, get away from me!" Zhang Yi shouted. Everyone in the Tengu squad hurriedly got out of the way. Zhang Yi threw the void ball up high, then instantly activated his 20 times acceleration ability. His entire body jumped up to a height of more than 3 meters before his right fist ruthlessly slammed towards that ball of emptiness. Swoosh! The black void ball instantly cut through space and passed through that invisible cage, then flew straight towards Canute's direction. And at the same time, an early warning sprang up in Canute's heart, who was still deploying his troops, the instincts of a wild beast letting him know that danger was approaching. But he was too close to Zhang Yi, only less than 1,000 meters away. The misjudgment of Zhang Yi's strength in his heart made him choose not to dodge. Rather, it was a hard fight. The huge shark's mouth let out an ear-piercing scream. He attempted to block the attack with his huge and sturdy body. This was because behind him, there was still the drawing a prison caster, Chen Xiyu, present. Zhang Yi gave a Kanuta an ominous glare as he watched the void spear racing through the sky and said, "Die." In the next moment, the entire space was enveloped by a dark sphere that suddenly rose from the earth. It was a giant orb with a radius of several hundred meters, emitting a terrifying power of destruction. Woo! A dull and miserable cry came out from amongst the void orb. Canute's huge body rushed up in an attempt to block the void orb ability and ruthlessly landed on the distant earth. At this moment, he was drenched in blood and looked incomparably wretched. On his hard body, a path of hideous and terrifying scars appeared. The scale armor that was comparable to an alloy was turned over and bloodied, as if it had been hardened by tens of thousands of machetes that had torn open countless wounds. Kanuta could never have imagined that with his animal-type ability, Blue Shark, and his powerful defense, he would be injured so deeply by Zhang Yi's move. He roared at Phoenix Ren, who was not far away, "You lied to me. His strength is not at all like what you said." The power contained within it caused the Phoenix Ren and the others on the short hill not far away to change their faces. After this move, almost everything at the location where Kanuta had been quietly erased. Except for Kanuta, who was still alive, the hundreds of pirates behind him, including Chen Xiyu, the ability user of drawing a prison, had all been reduced to ashes. This spectacle stunned everyone at the scene. Of the thousands of members of the Sky Dragon pirates, only 300 or 400 were left. Kanuta had blocked Zhang Yi's void strike head-on, causing him to be seriously injured, and the other minions were so scared that they didn't know what to do. The members of the Tengu squad were also stunned. With their strength, they could not even imagine the terrifying power of this move. True. Captain-level strength. Yi stared at Zhang Yi and muttered these words. Even Deng Shintong did not possess such a terrifying ability to attack a wide area with an AoE. There is absolutely no mistake, this is definitely captain level. And the standard for captain level is 9,000 supernatural ability points. Phoenix Rin, Jinguji Saikairo, and the other members of Eclipse Moon also widened their eyes. Damn it, that guy gave us the wrong information. This is no vice captain level combat power with a mere 8,200 supernatural ability points. Meanwhile, in Blizzard City, Zhu Zheng and the others were all filled with expressions of shock. Zhu Zheng's face went from shock to a smile in less than a second. He sat down firmly in his chair and crossed his arms on the table. I thought he had hidden it deep enough before. But I didn't realize that he had never revealed his true strength in front of our eyes. Originally, they were worried that Zhang Yi would be killed by the Sky Dragon pirates and Eclipse Moon joining forces. But now, the people in the combat center, including Zhu Zheng, were greatly confident. Judging from the situation, Zhang Yi and the others will definitely be able to hold out until the reincarnation squad arrives for support. Zhu Zheng was unable to contact Zhang Yi, so he contacted Gao Changkong again, asking him to quickly head to Tianhai City for support. What's the situation over there with Zhang Yi and the others? Gao Changkong's tone was full of tension. Zhu Zheng gave a mysterious smile and said, "Don't worry too much. As long as you arrive in time, we will definitely win. Zhang Yi is much stronger than we thought." Gao Changkong was a little taken aback, but then he laughed. Just as Bailey said. He's like a poor farmer who always likes to hide his food in good years in case of famine. This time, he really caught a big fish. Those who had underestimated him and deliberately set up traps for him were filled with frustration. Perhaps only Bai Li Changqing and the members of the Black Robe Squad understood what was going on. They thought about the battle in Tianhai City a few months ago. The difficulty they were in now was nothing compared to that time. They had fought a real Epsilon-class mutant. Zhang Yi had led them to defeat Yuan Kongyue and absorb Yuan Kongyue's origin. Therefore, no matter how powerful Zhang Yi's display of strength was, they could understand it. Wu Di suddenly exclaimed in surprise, "The barrier is gone." Zhang Yi, however, calmly said, "The real battle has just begun." From the very beginning, the Sky Dragon pirates had never been considered a truly dangerous opponent by Zhang Yi. The only ones who put pressure on Zhang Yi were the guys who appeared on the hilltop, the Eclipse Moon. Yi, Shui Miao, and Luing Hao couldn't hide the hostility in their eyes when they saw them. It was they who caused the once mighty Heavenly God Squad to be destroyed. Even their captain, Deng Shintong, was forced to self-destruct. This hatred is etched in their minds, and they will never forget it. Zhang Yi looked up and stared at the few people standing on the small hill. Phoenix Ren and the others were also staring at Zhang Yi. Both sides knew that the key to ending this battle was to eliminate each other. Bai Li Changqing. Meanwhile, Zhu Zheng's voice came over the communication device. After hesitating for a moment, he said to Zhang Yi, "Commander Zhu said that the reincarnation squad will be here in half an hour at the most. Just hang in there for another half hour." Zhang Yi gave him a cold glance and said nothing in response. He wasn't sure whether he could trust Zhu Zheng. Since he couldn't make up his mind, he might as well trust himself first. "Leave Phoenix Ren to me. You take care of the others." Bai Li. As agreed before, Zhang Yi told Bai Li Changqing to arrange the battle tactics. Now that drawing a prison had been lifted, the distance between them and the enemy was very close, and there would undoubtedly be a big battle next. At times like these, everyone has to rely on their own abilities. Bai Li Changqing was in charge of allocating combat power. He just needed to hold off the enemy's general. Half an hour. He would try to trust Zhu Zheng for once, but he wouldn't put all his faith in him. Bai Li Changqing took his orders and immediately began assigning tasks to the members of the Tengu squad. Zhang Yi, on the other hand, gave orders to the people around him. Liang Yu, you need to help me hold off one of Eclipse Moon's main forces. Flower, protect Xin. In terms of speed, there aren't many mutants here who can catch up with you. If necessary, just run away and save your life and Xin's. Liang Yu nodded firmly, okay. She clenched the dragon's roar in her hand, wondering if there was some kind of connection between top-level martial artists. Nobunaga Tsukamoto on the hilltop looked over at her. From a distance of hundreds of meters, the murderous intent in their eyes made the air become solemn. I have already found my opponent, Liang Yu said. Flower, on the other hand, had already completed its growth. It hid young Xin among its thick fur, only letting her neck and head show. Its fur, which was stronger and sharper than steel, was the best protective layer. While Zhang Yi was mobilizing his troops, Phoenix Ren was also busy. The sudden outburst of terrifying power from Zhang Yi made him feel that the situation was out of control. Ever since he started to build his organization, he had never encountered such an unpredictable situation in battle, thanks to Mayumi Takeuchi's fortune-telling. Even if he encountered an opponent that he could not solve, he could detect the danger in advance and escape as soon as possible. However, he never expected that on the other side of the sea, he would encounter his own nemesis. Once a person has spent a long time in a certain field, if they suddenly leave the comfort of that space, they will feel extremely uncomfortable. It is like someone who is used to the internet suddenly arriving in a mountain village with no internet access, and they will be at a loss as to what to do. This is the feeling that Phoenix Ren had when he encountered Zhang Yi. And this feeling also made him desperately want to eliminate Zhang Yi. Jinguji, you and I will work together to kill off the other team's captain first, Phoenix Ren said to Jinguji Saikairo, who was standing next to him. Jinguji Saikairo pushed his gold-rimmed glasses and, in a rare move, did not disagree with Phoenix Ren's idea. Because he knew that Phoenix Ren was a guy who didn't know any danger. Once he asked someone for help, it could only mean that his opponent really made him feel insecure. Zhang Yi took advantage of the chaos caused by the snowstorm created by Zhuge Qingting and Fatty Su's joint efforts to break through the barrier of drawing a prison. And so the real melee began. Bai Li Changqing arranged the team members to carry out their tasks in an orderly manner and at a rapid pace. Qi Guangming, Yi Jikang, Meng Xiu, Shui Miao, Lu Winghao, you guys are in charge of cleaning up the pirates. The rest of you follow me, we'll deal with the Ronin from Eclipse Moon first. Canute's strength should not be underestimated either. According to the headquarters analysis of his supernatural powers, his strength is at the level of a vice captain. However, due to his arrogance, he took Zhang Yi's void technique on his own initiative, which caused him to be seriously injured. This resulted in the entire Sky Dragon Pirates' pressure on the Tengu squad suddenly decreasing. Therefore, Bai Li Changqing decided to concentrate the superior forces and annihilate Eclipse Moon first. The few people sent out were all mutants from the Tengu squad who were weak in strength but good at clearing out the foot soldiers. A few mutants received the order and immediately charged over, before the foot soldiers of the Sky Dragon Pirates had a chance to recover. Meanwhile, on the Eclipse Moon side, Daiko Yanjin could no longer hold back his urge to charge. As a killing maniac, his patience had been exhausted by being kept on standby. Especially when he saw Zhang Yi and his other formidable opponents, he ignored Phoenix Ren next to him and ripped his shirt off. Holding his huge Tanbokiri, he leapt off the hill. The brown air current soared up, taking his long hair with it. After transforming, he looked like a fearsome beast, his mouth full of ferocious fangs. His eyes fixed on Zhang Yi. Hey, are you the strongest person here? Come on, let's have a good fight. The Tanbokiri in his hand pointed directly at Zhang Yi's head. Daiko Yanjin. Everyone here knew this person's name and appearance. He had displayed amazing strength in 2 battles. This is a very formidable opponent. The Jiangnan Region Research Department's data analysis of him gave a supernatural ability index of 7,200 points. Facing such an opponent, Bai Li Changqing took the initiative to walk out before Zhang Yi could even say a word. Hey Ronin, how about you and I fight? Bai Li Changqing said coldly. Daiko Yanjin's gaze fell upon him. Between masters, one can sense the strength of another simply by the aura they give off. Except for Zhang Yi. In Bai Li Changqing's body, Daiko Yen Jin sensed that special flavor, the flavor of a kindred spirit. They were both mutants who pursued the extremes of power. Daiko Yen Jin raised the corners of his mouth. He didn't give a direct answer, but charged forward like a hurricane. He raised the Tanbokiri in one hand and slashed down with a sudden, fierce blow. It happened so quickly that no one could see how fast he was, and no one saw when Bai Li Changqing raised the halberd. All that could be heard was the sound of metal clashing, which was so loud that it hurt people's ears. The solid ground under the feet of the two men, which had already been bombed, exploded at this time, and the earth within a radius of 50 meters sank, and a huge pit was created by their impact. Bai Li Changqing blocked the blow of Daiko Yen Jin.